Hello, and welcome to another special prologue for our Magic the Gathering D&D campaign. These prologues detail our currently unignited heroes, and lead up to their pivotal moment of change where the Planeswalker spark ignites within them and thrusts them through the blind eternities, into a multiverse yet unknown. I have with me here one of the Unignited, and I'd like to take the opportunity to let you get properly acquainted with them now.
Hello, everybody. I am David Gagnon. Today, I'm going to be playing Cal, and I'm really excited to just dive right into this, really, and see what this world and whatever others we end up in has to offer. So I am, little bit of a shameless plug here. Just going to throw this in. I am the project manager here at the Rolling Nomads. You can find me on social media over on Twitter at DG the Nomad. And yeah, I think that's me.
That does indeed about cover it, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Istala is a plane where magic flows like a river through every corner of the world, its currents shaping the lives of all who dwell there. The sky is painted with ethereal lights, remnants of an ancient godly battle, and the land pulses with arcane energy that even the youngest child can feel beneath their feet. In Istala, magic is not a rare gift. It is as common as the air itself. From the bustling streets of glittering cities to the remote mystical forests, everyone from farmers to scholars can harness some form of spellcraft. However, while magic is abundant, true mastery over its forces is a mark of great skill and dedication, often requiring divine favor or a lifetime of study. With the great powers that mortal races wield, the gods of Istala are ever present. Watching from their celestial thrones, their influence is felt in both grand and subtle ways. They are beings of immense power, each presiding over different domains of existence. Cirrus, god of fortune and luck, Modea, goddess of winter, Nox, god of death, and others who guide the flow of time, nature, and fate itself. Their influences can be seen in every aspect of life, from the crops that grow under the blessing of the harvest gods to the warriors who fight with divine strength in battle. Temples dot the landscape, grand structures where mortals offer prayer in exchange for the gods' guidance, blessings, or in rare cases, curses. For the Loxodon of Thogfildir, divine fortune comes second to what great works one can do with their own hands. On the frozen continent of Galia, it's not uncommon for prayers to be choked back with the cold winter's wind, or exaltation to be met with the field of frozen crops. No, the Loxodon of Thogfildir put more stock into their own strength than the mummers of a cleric or a priest. For these hardy people, their devotion is to their community first. But just because the gods are not so well loved in Thogfildir does not mean that they don't watch over it themselves. The gods weave fate, and grant omens and cast runes, guiding the peoples of the settlement with a mostly patient hand. Other times, a firmer push is needed for a great hero to set out about the fate that the gods have laid for them. Cal, you're young. Just a boy, really. And as a child, your days are ill-suited for the wants and worries of adulthood. Where do we find you? Where do we find your mind? Where do we find you, and what are you up to in this moment, being a child?
Well, from a young age, Cal would have been learning masonry from his father. So while there is little worry for, as you put it, to spend my day on adult things, there is still time to be had to prepare for when my mind is to be fully devoted to those things. I suppose I guess an iteration, or not an iteration, uh, perhaps alteration of the term all work and no play, there still has to be some work to be done.
Indeed. After all, the dedication is to community, and you must be an upstanding member here on Gelia and Thogfuldir. So would you say that you are devoted? Would you say that you are listening carefully as your father explains trade and the craft?
I would say so, yes. Because this is a, like you said, a service to the community. And being a part of that would be a cornerstone, really, for Cal, and being able to not only perform his work well, but to truly master his craft, and then be able to give back to the community. He would have to put in that hard work and show that dedication to be able to do that.
Indeed, and your father is stringent in this. You know that if he was to catch you wandering or your mind wasn't fully there, he would quickly snap you back to it.
As he has done many a time over the years, I'm sure.
He places a heavy hand on your shoulder. Says, "Sooner than you think, lad. This will be yours. Everything that I've built, both literally and figuratively, will rest in your hands. Are you prepared for this?"
Yes, Father.
Good. See great potential in you, Cal. Your attention to detail is something that even older apprentices lack. You have a skilled hand. I'm proud of you, Cal.
Well, I had a good teacher.
Moves his hand over to the top of your head and gives your head a little bit of a ruffle, messing up the woolly fur. Says, "Come, I want you to come with me as we make a deal with another potential client. They're seeking an expansion of the one of the temples."
Well, then let's not keep them waiting.
Good. Never keep the customers waiting too long, lest they start to question pricing. Gives you a wink. Sets out.
And I will follow.
When you step out, Cal, you're met with cold. The snow is not terrible today, but it is lightly falling. Describe for me, if you would, Thogfuldir. What is the architecture? What is the community like as you step out into the cold?
Well, Thogfuldir is originally a dwarven settlement. So mining is a popular profession here. Given its proximity to the mountains, it is located near in the central valley of Gelia. So, close proximity to the mountains allows the dwarves to be able to go in and do their mining. And seeing mining is a profitable business, that allows them some more resources to be able to build up, some houses that can withstand the weather. The houses here may not be the fanciest or most elegant, but they are among the sturdiest. Now, because of this, it is primarily as I said, a dwarven settlement to begin with. Um, Over time, the Loxodon of this area had moved in, and they've got a pretty good establishment here. So we've got a good sized community of dwarves and Loxodon. There's a couple other species and races and what have you mixed in, given the nature of Galia being a sort of collection, I would say, of sovereign states. So people moving from one area to another. It's not uncommon to find elves, tieflings, halflings, humans. All so a bit of a collection of everybody kind of here. But I would say the predominant species right now would be the dwarves and Xenon.
You move through Thogfuldir. Again, the snow is fresh. It's not a blizzard or anything going on outside, but it's cold. Something you're used to, and the heavy fur, the woolly demeanor of your specific type of Loxodon is helpful here, adapted for this. You walk, and your father is greeted by many individuals who recognize him. He's a upstanding member of the community, some might say. They greet you as well, with all of the respect and sort of reverence that a child would receive. Smiles. Sort of a change, a drop in pitch or tone of the voice as they greet you as well. But it's peaceful here. It's nice as you walk through. Eventually, you reach the temple, and your father bids you to just listen. He has a discussion with one of the clerics here. They're looking to expand, to offer an area for worship that is dedicated to more and more deities. As you said, this is primarily a dwarven region, some might say. But it's expansive, and travelers come from throughout. And for the temple, it's important that everyone has a place to sit, to worship, to reflect. And as they discuss this, something catches your eye, Cal. One of the clerics fully Loxodon like yourself sort of watches you and your father. She lights incense. She has deep gray fur, shorter tusks, old eyes. You think they might be riddled with sort of cataracts or something. She may be blind. The way she looks at you is very telling. She certainly can see you. She's assessing you, Cal. Is there anything you'd like to do?
I would say I would definitely watch with curiosity. I wouldn't say I would go as far as to interrupt her, because if somebody's going about their work and there's no reason for me to interject, then I suppose for right now it's more while my father is talking and having any discussions or what have you about the nature of the contract or job that we'll be taking on. My mind is starting to wander a little bit, kind of not just towards her but to the other people here as well, because it's not an environment that we find ourselves in very often. Inside of the temple, outside of doing work like this. So.
Indeed, and as you have these thoughts, as you this happens very quickly, you can hear your father discussing with the cleric. Essentially, it respects the motive behind this, but this is all. Your father's a serious man, and this is a business transaction. This man is giving him more of a religious sort of missionary sermon, almost, of like the good that this will bring and how this will be great for the community. And your father's like, yes, I agree. Let's discuss price. Let's discuss the cost of materials, the time frame. So your father seems to be a bit, I don't think it would be a stretch to say annoyed. Takes a little bit of time. As you stand by your father, she lights incense a number of feet away from you. He's never leaving you. As your father closes the steel, she sits, lights incense, lights candles, but never lets you out of her sight. It's very strange. She wears simple white robes. And as father ushers you, business concluded, toward the exit, this is when she moves. She stops. She comes over to you and your father and she says, please, I ask your permission to bless the boy, said Harris. I appreciate it. I'm not opposed to it. I just simply wish to know to which god exactly, and I suppose to what honor, to what we have done to earn this honor. She smiles. You can see her eyes now, you can see, are very pale blue. What you had mistaken for cataracts were flecks of white speckled into the irises. They seem to... It's as if snow fell on the eyeball itself and just never melted. Those flecks of white staining the iris, blending into the whites. It's interesting. She explains. I have a special sort of connection, I suppose you could say, to Cirrus. The god of fortune, god of luck. And I see something in your boy. Father nods and says, Cal.
Yes, Father.
This woman is offering you a blessing, a sort of right, if you will. I won't make this decision for you. It's your choice if you wish to accept.
I suppose.
He takes a step back and gestures toward her. She drops to a knee. Not exactly in line with you, Cal. She just looks down on you just a bit. She speaks in a tongue you don't know, waving a metal censer on your left shoulder, your right. It's strange. Especially for a child. This is not exactly the tradition, or this is not a common practice for you. Your household looks to the gods for guidance, sure, advice, perhaps. But what you make, what you build, you do that. It's your own hands. The gods don't come down from the heavens and do things for you. You build. You create. You control your destiny. And as you have these thoughts, she switches to a tongue that you do know. She says, "Very sorry, my boy. Your life won't be easy. But it will be grand."
I will look up to her and say, well, then I'll just have to work that much harder.
That's the spirit, my boy. It's the spirit. And she gives you one sort of soft pat on the face. Can't help but think her eyes look very sad in this moment. She steps up, returns to incense, has start thanking your father. He walks with you out of the temple and for a few moments is silent. Then abruptly, as if holding it back, he breaks for a moment and says, "What did she say to you, boy?"
Well, she said that my life would not be an easy one, but that it would be grand.
I see.
Why do they trust in the gods so much? To do things for them or on their behalf.
I suppose that a righteous individual will tell you that the gods are wiser, the gods are stronger, the gods are better. Truth is, Cal, that perhaps they are, but the fact of the matter is that in this world, we make our own way. We can't count on the gods to intervene. The gods help those who help themselves. They grant you the tools. It's up to us to pick them up. It's up to us to do something with them. When you wield a hammer, it's your choice to build or to destroy. But it is the wise Loxodon that knows that it can be used for both. And when to wield for destruction and when to wield for creation. Pay attention carefully to what tools the gods grant you, Cal. But don't rely on them to use them for you.
I understand.
I know you do, boy. I know. It ruffles your head again. And you walk through the snow, through the cold. And suddenly, that was years ago. Suddenly, that's a memory. Time passes and perhaps it wasn't prominent. Perhaps something has replaced it. But somewhere in your mind that sticks. And as you discuss, with perhaps the very same cleric, another discussion of expansion, is the town, the city, whatever you'd like to call it. Logfuldir has grown. It's seeing more and more traffic. And so more expansions are made. And now it's you, Cal, who sits listening to this doddering old cleric, this old priest, explain to you how good this is for the community and how your father made this expansion here, this chamber, a worship for Odea, a place for the servants, her servants, to find shelter, to pray for short winters. How do you feel, Cal? Are you like your father, and aware that you don't necessarily need to know the why?
I would say it's similar. In learning from him, I've adopted many of his business practices and I suppose you could say attitudes as well. Where it's like, okay, yes, but how high do you want the wall? How thick does it need to be? What material? How many people do we need to be able to sit in this space? Things like that. But I wouldn't say that it's as callous in the sense of he's been doing it for so many years, where he's heard the why, and people trying to sell him the emotional side of things, the emotional investment, I suppose, rather than the material investment. So I would say it's not a cold dismissal of the why. Entertaining it for a while and kind of trying to coax the conversation back to the more, what materials are we going to use? When do you need this done? Things like that. And trying to slowly but surely finalize those details throughout the conversation until we eventually agree on a price and shake hands on it.
Indeed. And it does happen. You get to the point of the details, and this priest, he explains, but it won't need to be too terribly tall or too terribly large. It's a smaller chamber, but important, I think, nonetheless. Strange, but we'll need... The exterior, of course, can be used from standard stone, but we need at least something for the flooring to honor this particular deity. There is a need of darker rock, darker stone. We don't really have anything in mind. Obsidian would be best, I think, but can't find that too much out here.
If you're not too keen on what kind of stone it needs to be, I can certainly find a darker material. This is doable, for sure.
Well, a black marble would be nice, or
Black
something
marble would be doable. And that would keep us well within budget. Obsidian, as I'm sure you know, gets a little expensive.
Of course. It's just this is you happen to find any other if you look to the dwarves. Maybe they have something lying around. A chunk of it, even just a slab, is necessary, I suppose.
I'm sure I can find something. There's some dwarves down the way that usually have a surplus of just that type of stone for the right amount of coin, but I can acquire that.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate your well, can't really call it a donation now, can we? We appreciate your service, and the gods look favorably on those who serve. Even Nox. This will be his chamber, you know.
It is an honor and a privilege to be able to help build, in that way, give back.
In peace, my boy. And remember, gods are with you.
And with you.
Business concluded. You are free to leave this temple. It's a bit larger, even since the last time we got to see you and your father here. You never saw a particular cleric again. There's no sign of her. I think maybe she may have passed. She did seem a little elderly. As you walk once again through Thoughtful Deer. Cal, this place has changed a bit. You're in a strange situation where this place doesn't seem small. It's not in comparison to when you grow and you realize just how tiny your town is, but this place seems to have almost grown with you, accompanying your size, accommodating your own growth with its own. It's a symbiotic sort of relationship, this place. As if it wants to be called home. Now, the greetings come to you without the change of tone, change in pitch. This place recognizes you as a man grown. And a man grown indeed you are, Cal. I believe over 6 feet. What does the world look like? Look at when they see you.
As far as size here, Cal would actually probably at this point in his life be closer to almost 8 feet. The Loxodon being a bigger race of people. He still has a decent amount of growing to go. But he definitely ate his whatever this world's equivalent to Wheaties are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. He's a growing boy for sure.
What's your usual, this might seem inconsequential for now, Cal, but all things have their purpose. What's the usual garb? What's the fur? Paint us a picture.
He's got a thick coat of coarse, his fur is brown. So thick brown fur covering his body, which is very helpful up here in the continent of Gelia, where the winters can be harsh and it is often snowy for most of the year, if not all of the year. Being a Loxodon, he does have a large trunk and tusks and ears, and has a large stature to him. His tusks at this point in his life are still growing, obviously, so is he. But they're of I suppose average size for a member of his species. As far as his clothing, he prefers practical clothing, stuff that's durable, both that's going to help keep him warm, in addition to the thick coat because of how cold it does get here. He needs a little bit more than just his coat to kind of help protect him from the wind and the extreme colds. But it would be things like, I guess like a thicker, I'm not actually sure like what kind of material that would be, but I suppose leather, things like that. Warm, practical clothing that still allows movement, but that doesn't break down easily and that is easy enough to repair or replace.
Mm. With your fur, not much is needed. You wouldn't need to wear a thick wool coat, really.
Right.
But it's not terrible today either, Cal. The snow beneath your feet is soft. You walk. And as you said, there are some dwarves that you regularly do business with. Chiron is the contact that you have that should have the obsidian that you're looking for. You may make your way to her if you'd like.
Yes, I did have a question. Was it obsidian or was it marble? Because I thought we had...
Marble is the makeup of the full floor, but a chunk of obsidian would be appreciated.
Yeah, and I'm sure he would have at least some obsidian that he could give me. If not, I suppose this would be a rather common thing, a sort of bartering trade, exchanging goods and services for goods and services in place where money can't cover the entire amount. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I will go to him now.
We'll cut to that conversation. As you make your way, he approaches you. Smaller, much smaller than you. Reaches up, gives you a sort of clasp on the wrist. Says, "What do we do you for today, Cal?"
Oh, I was looking for some marble. It's going to have to be darker in color. Was also, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm trying to get my hands on some obsidian.
Obsidian?
The temple down the road is adding a room for Nox.
He spits. I don't know why they need a temple for Nox. The God of Death seems to be happy to get his worship in the cemeteries.
That's what they want to put their coin towards. So, here I am.
Well, obsidian, difficult to come by. We may need... And I'm not going to lie to you, Cal, that might be a bit expensive. I mean, take it out of whatever they're going to pay you, but... You're not going to always ask for more, but we had to do some traveling for that. We had to go through giant country.
Now, doing the entire floor in obsidian, that's just way too much. That's not going to be practical at all. However, I've seen before where they usually have an adornment of some sort, a ring, usually made out of obsidian. Perhaps something like that to go up on the altar could be a suitable replacement for not being able to do the entire floor.
Well, then,
Might be a little more doable.
Well, we'd still have to travel. We don't carry it. We don't have obsidian. Well, I mean, the chunks that we had are gone. They shipped off to temples to some fire deity or something like that. Something really needed fire glass. Chunk of... We just would need to travel, and again through giant country. We'd need to hire some the folk, the danger folk, the people the adventurers they call them, something like that. The thrill seekers.
Oh yes, haven't seen too many of them around these parts recently.
Just for protection, you see. Giants can be a bit testy.
Yes. Been a moment since any of them have come through here, but if I recall, the last time we had one here, they drank almost all of your ale, or was it all of it?
All of it. Couldn't get a lick of it back either. No through coin or drop.
I mean, it's kind of hard to get it back after they've drank it all.
Aye. Well, I mean...
I see.
It would cost you a pretty penny unless you're inclined to come with us. Provide the protection yourself. You're growing into a fine... kind of sizes you up again, Cal's Fine young man. You know how to use your hammer? Or are you just breaking rocks with it, pretty boy?
I've been swinging this hammer long enough to know how to use it.
Well, if you're up for a bit of adventure yourself and travel, just some protection is all you would need. We're not unwizened ourselves, but always helps to have larger folk.
I hear Yokugar is nice this time of year.
Pack your bags in, boyo. Let's save you some coin.
When are you heading out?
Well, I guess that depends on you. You great giant priss. Pack enough rations. Get your things squared away. We can be ready in a couple days.
Right. Then... what? 2 days and done?
2 days and done.
I'll see you then, friend.
Reaches up, clasps you on the wrist once more.
And I'll return it.
And you did, Cal. You traveled. You went through giant country. And it's through this that you learned. You learned how to swing your hammer for destruction. You picked up some other tricks along the way as well. It wasn't like the stories that children are told where the hero fights back giants and crushes the encampment and saves the city. No, these are intelligent beings. These are sapient creatures. They learn. They trade. They teach. They have great wisdom and great knowledge to pass along. For a price. For an exchange.
While I imagine through this, definitely learning they're not the, as you said, grind my bones to make their bread kind of giants. Going off the conversation that I had with my dwarven friend, I would imagine they can hold their own when it comes to drinking, so that is an interesting way for people to bond.
Indeed.
I don't know if you've ever tried to drink a giant under the table. That's a feat in and of itself.
Indeed it is.
And with the amount of time it would take us both to get up into giant country and to come back, and the time we'd be spending there, I'm sure there would be at least one night where it's like we're able to partake in such things. I suppose bonding is a word.
Strange, Kel. The trip leaves you with something more. You have a taste of the world. And it's strange. You find yourself going more. Tasting the road a bit. Bit by bit, you find yourself helping acquire the materials that you use. You learn more from the giants. Make peace. They recognize you as sort of a friend at this point. And you get it after a while. You understand how those thrill seekers, those adventurers, those sell swords could chase coin through certain peril. You learn. Not every trip has combat or bloodshed, but just the journey in and of itself is nice. Thugfuldir is home. it's a home you could always come back to. And these thoughts that swirl in your head of maybe leaving. Your father is older, but he's tough. Your parents are not decrepit. And the community that you have in Thogvaldir, they wouldn't just let them die in their beds. These thoughts are cut away quickly, swiftly, when you meet her. Describe her for us, Cal. What dashed away those dreams, those young dreams, those teenage thoughts of running out and going and being an adventurer? What kept you grounded?
I suppose, you know, a tale as old as time, as it were. These thoughts of going out and adventuring, it was exciting, it was fun, but that was before I met Ura, another Loxodon here in Thogvaldir. Loxodon being a larger people, she's smaller, in the sense of like Cal's big. He's he's been working hard, physically as far as that goes, and that tends to make people bigger. So she has a lighter brown coat than he does, smaller tusks, smaller ears. But in the process, I would say, I want to say it would be as the work on the temple for Nox was being completed, coming back from that and rebuilding that, is around the time when he would have met her. And it began small at first, a little bit of some small conversation here, until, hey, going out for a meal, or the conversations over time growing deeper. And then it really came down to where, Cal had to make a choice. He could pursue this life of adventure, but in doing so, he would have to be away from this new opportunity at building up a family and really adding more to the community. It wasn't an easy choice at first, because you've got this, well, here's this thing that I would really like to go and do, but what do I need to do? Is really what it came down to. And when he thought about it, it was, he could go pursue things that he wanted to do, or he could do things to build a family, to give back, and really just build a community, build on the community as well. So at the end of the day, he chose to stay with Aura.
Indeed. It's been a good life. Now, eventually the temple is completed. Aura and you, project of your own, you need to work on. It's customary in a lot of regions and a lot of places. The parents are clinging. And during this time, this adjustment, when you and Ura are married, they're around to see it. So expansions must be made of your own. Families stay together. Cal, I have to ask you a very important question. They're around to see your marriage, your wedding.
Hmm.
Do they stick around for long? Are they with us today?
I would say that at this point in time, they are older, but they are not dead. They are still here with us. They live nearby. They still live in Thogveldir, but they have their home that they built. And essentially, as tradition would dictate, is it's time for us to build a house of our own. We are still nearby, so there's the community element of it, but the place where we live and we raise our family would be a place that we built together. So I would say it would be an uncommon thing for them to be living with us, because then we would be building on top of what they built or adjacent to it, rather than here is ours, here's what we built. And I suppose that kind of falls in line with the idea of like how they view the gods and the worship of them, where it's less of other people did this for me and more of I did this with the guidance of others.
Of course. We join you, Cal. Walking through the snow. Once more. Snow that turns strange. It's no longer cold. It changes from white to brown. As it ceases to melt when you reach down and run your hand through it. Heavier grains. These flakes don't melt. The clouds disperse, and the sun is seen shining in the sky. It's warm. At the place, there is lightning. And suddenly you're back in the snow. Another strike. Back in that strange brown snow. Stuff that doesn't melt. Another strike. Back returned. Now in the snow, but now closer to a building. It's made of wood. You can see those beautiful lights in the sky, the ethereal stars shining overhead. They're not your stars, Cal. You don't recognize these constellations. You don't recognize these stars. Flash of lightning, and it's as if you've taken 30 steps. You are in front of the door. This strange wooden building, this long house. You don't even really need to think about it. You reach down and you push open. Find a hall filled with people, not Loxodons or tieflings or elves. People, humans, strange. Their strange garb. Some bear tattoos that shimmer and glow. There is a strange creature skittering across this dining table, this long table where they all dine. At the head is an old man leaning in his chair. He looks up and sees you. Gives you a nod. You hear a voice to your right. Not easy, but grand. You look over and there's a raven pecking the wood. Glances over to you. Opens its beak and says again, not easy, but grand. And then it falls away. Cal. You look back toward the dining table where all this family, perhaps, is eating. And as you do, with the subtle turn of your head, the wood falls away. It begins to splinter and burn. They don't move, not a single one of them. They sit around as their home, this dining hall, burns. Not easy, but grand. It's hot, Cal. Fire all around them. Fire all around you. Feel something on your chest. Pushes. Pressure that forces the air from your lungs, and it comes again quick. The smoke builds. And another bit of pressure on your chest, forcing the air from your lungs. Try to breathe, and it's impossible. Take a deep breath of smoke and snow. And you hear grand. As that final push, your eyes bolt open, and your son is sort of bouncing up and down on your chest. Wake up! Wake up!
I'm up. Oh,
No, you're not.
I'm awake. I would be up if you would get off of my chest.
Rolls over on top of his sister, your daughter, Onka. Both of them sort of plopping onto your wife, who is still trying, it seems, to be sound asleep beside you. You can hear her muttering to herself, just like... But they laugh as you kind of take a deep breath.
Oh, is the sun up yet?
You hear your wife swiftly answer, no. Not a single bit of light outside, but you promised the boy to teach him to cut marble today.
At dawn. At dawn. It's not dawn yet, boy.
Dawn is just before the sun rises. Uncle sort of nudges him and says, told you dawn is when the sun first rises.
Alright. Why don't you two go get breakfast or something? And I'll be there in a moment.
Mom has to... It's Mom's turn to make breakfast, and you can see she just kind of like huffs and... It's alright. Oh, she rolls out of bed and just... Eggs. Go, crack them, let's go. And kind of shepherds them out of the room. And she stops in the doorway and kind of looks back at you and says, you were muttering in your sleep last night. You alright? Seemed like you were having a nightmare.
I'll sit up in the bed. This strange dream. Can hardly remember it. This must have caused me to stir. I'm alright.
Promise?
Promise.
She moves from the doorway back over to you, taking your hand. She presses her forehead to yours and kind of starts to intertwine your trunks. She just holds you there for a moment. Says, "You usually sleep so peacefully. Just got a little bit worried last night, that's all."
The occasional bad dream is nothing to be concerned with.
You're right. I'm going to go make breakfast. Is there anything in particular you'd like with your eggs?
Surprise me, dear.
She nods. Leans up. One of the few times that she's taller than you is when you're half lying down in bed and she kisses your forehead. Moves to take care of your children. Just a bad dream, Cal. Even now it's beginning to fade. Inconsequential to the sounds of laughter and siblings annoying one another early in the morning. Terribly early in the morning, I should add.
The energy of youth.
As she prepares breakfast, it's difficult for you to get up. By the time you join your family, it's maybe cresting into dawn at this point. Your children already have a little bit of egg to hold them over as your wife, she cooks up some meat. I'm not entirely sure what it might be. Maybe bacon, perhaps some sort of ham. It's difficult to tell. She's cut it in thick strips. Breakfast is made. And Russell seems terribly excited. He's taken to the craft well, Cal, and he's a quick learner, and he's more, maybe not more of a devoted student than you were, but certainly has more questions, certainly has more, has to have the explanation of why a lot of things are the way they are. And perhaps that's just a child thing, but you don't remember yourself asking certainly this many questions of why a stone is a stone.
Why we use this stone over that one. Yeah. Why the type of hammer matters.
But breakfast is had. It's a family affair. Does your daughter take part in the lesson?
As far as the stone crafting lesson, she's welcome to, for sure. So she's. I wouldn't say that it's something that interests her as much as it does Rasul. She does enjoy learning more about the stones, the materials, and things like that. But I think her curiosity stems more from nature itself and learning more about that. I would say that would be more her area of interest, learning more about the world, whereas Rasul likes learning about the craft and essentially working to kind of follow in his father's footsteps, as it were.
Then many questions are asked, Cal. With this being said, Uncle will
Twice
take
as many
part in this lesson, and whereas Rasul asks questions about the masonry and the choice of hammer and things like that. Uncle asks questions about the stone itself, where you can find, how deep you need to dig. You have world experience, interests that align with hers, to the point where she has asked you, and likely will continue to do so until the day you perish, about your travels through giant country and what they were like, the culture of the people, the local fauna and plant life. It's a lot. But you've taken to fatherhood quite well. It's grand. The lessons are not terribly complex. This is a trade. It takes skill, it takes practice. What do you tell Rasul? What do you tell Ulka? I'm not necessarily asking for explicit details on stonework or anything like that, but will this all be theirs one day? What is the level of choice you give your children?
I would say that I would definitely impart on them the importance of hard work, of tradition, and the value that these things have, but that the idea basically that while the traditions of the past do hold value and should be respected, it's essentially that they're going to reach a point in their life where they're going to have to decide what their tradition is going to be. Are they going to, well, I suppose it's less of a replacing the traditions of the past and more of a what are you going to add to the legacy.
As you explain this, Cal, I hate to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off because as you explain this, you do find yourself realizing that Rasul is not paying full attention. Onka is nodding and taking this very seriously. Rasul is eyeballing the stone and is kind of drifted into, okay, we're no longer talking about the business aspect and the trade of it all. You can see his mind now is on play. 2 modes, this boy. Hard work or play hard.
Then perhaps it's time for a break.
Okay,
I would say we're several hours into the morning at this point. Way more questions than I could hope to count.
Indeed. And again, Onka was taking this all very seriously. She seems a bit more prepared for these heavier conversations, these life lessons. Rasul is more immediate focus. And again, remember, it's their children. And perhaps these hard life lessons, they'll learn. They'll have time. You have time, Cal.
They have time.
So you break to play. And one of their favorite games is, as Cal, now you are full grown. You are full stature and large even for a Loxodon. How tall, how large are you now, Cal, after years of work and just being a, whatever the opposite of a runt of the litter is?
So now, being fully grown, like you had pointed out, Cal is large. So going off of D&D size categories, he is a large creature. Um, he stands at 12 foot 4 and is just shy of 1,900 pounds. He is a sizable man at this point.
Indeed. Large by D&D standards. Fucking huge by our standards. And one of their favorite games is they recognize that you are a large individual and they are small, is a game called Ants versus Elephants. And this is a game in which there is the larger individuals would usually take a side. This, in case, being you, being the large individual, and essentially taking sides, almost like a war front, in a way.
Okay.
Be the elephants on one side and the ants, the smaller individuals, on the other. And the whole point is to cross sides and to do battle in no man's land. And whoever reaches the other side, whoever has the most people reaching the other side first wins. If you are knocked down, if you are knocked over, you need to go back and reset to your side. Again, ants versus elephants. Normally, under normal circumstances, this is played with a few large individuals being the elephants and a maybe half dozen to a dozen so individuals being the ants. This one balances, might versus numbers. In this case, it's you against two children. So, it's...
Seems fair.
Indeed. And how does this game usually go, Cal? Do you let your children win? Do you teach them the hard lesson of life of that you have to be tactical and strategic? How does this usually go?
I would say the dynamic of the game itself has probably changed over the years as they've grown, both in size and in knowledge, where they're able to think more tactically. I would say it's one of those things where I definitely gave them some freebies in the beginning. Probably more than I should have. But over the years, they've learned, where it's like, yes, could I just plow through and claim the easy victory and be like, oh, you just got to do better. I mean, yes, I could do that, but more often than not, I don't, and they do often manage to, I suppose, pull a fast one on me here and there. I wouldn't call it a fair fight by any means, but they definitely stand more of a chance, and every once in a while they get a victory that I didn't hand to them.
Today's
it's a bit of both, I suppose.
Today's interesting, Cal. Rasul seems focused. Onka is the planner, the strategist. Rasul is larger than she is. He's the muscle of the ants, you might say. Onka is the brains. They don't rush like they usually do. They sort of walk together at first and then start to split. The easiest thing for them to do would be rushing along the edges of this battlefield and running, forcing you to make a choice of which one you wish to stop. But then it would just result in a draw. But here they stay within arm's reach of you. They split into a fork. This is a new tactic. Entirely sure what they're getting up to, but as you face off in the no man's land of this territorial battle, Rasul rushes you from the left side. Onka moves to your front, forcing you to confront her head on, which is strange. She ducks low and dives between your legs coming up behind you as Rasul takes your left, gripping onto your left arm, trying to keep your elbow from being able to pivot, forcing you to fight one-handed.
And I will raise up my left arm so that way he is further off the ground and hopefully has a little bit less access to other parts of my body, whether that be with his hands or with his trunk. So he could still reach me a little bit, but a little bit less access. I'm trying to maintain some semblance of a superior position in this conflict.
It's funny that you say superior position, Cal. Seems the purpose as you lift your arm, as Onka dives beneath you, she stays between your legs for a moment and uses her full length of her body and pushes your left ankle with her hands and your right ankle with her feet, forcing you to... You're off balance. You are either going to do the splits or allow yourself to fall. And she does this very quickly. She pushes and then begins to roll to the front of you. What are you doing, Cal? What would you like to do?
Alright, so at this point I'm going to, while still holding my left arm up, I'm going to firmly plant my right arm into the ground. So now, in order to get access to my left arm, I would have to shake Rasul free. Moving my right arm at this point would cause me to collapse, most likely. But I do still have my trunk available. So, we'll see if that does me any good.
Excellent. You drop onto your right arm. Interesting, they've used the battlefield to their advantage. The snow makes things a bit slippery, but you do drop. You're not down and out for the count, as Onka has now a clear path to run. She begins to sprint, trying to urge her brother to follow along with you. This moment of, let's call it weakness. You are down. They have both attempt to run. You have a right arm you grab onto. You can simply grab onto Rasul and, using your trunk, trip up your daughter, Onka, and bring them back onto the fold. Now, the ground is a good equalizer. If all combatants are on the ground, fighting to stand is the superiority play. And with you being as large as you are and as strong as you are, unfortunately, this was their plan. Didn't really seem to have a backup. The three of you begin to wrestle in the snow. And this has become a sort of, not a town affair, but there are definitely local children and their parents that come, and whenever they're walking by, they see this and they stop and they take a moment to see who's going to win this bout. This eventually devolves. As you subdue your children, they devolve into sort of grabbing and trying to just strong arm you, digging themselves into the snow, holding onto your ankles as you leave two thick trenches in the snow, moving toward the end of their battlefield. A victory for you today, Cal. As the children boo and the parents cheer. This is common game, and as it so often does, Rasul says that it's simply not fair. Onka explains that it certainly is. There are two of them and one of you. They argue that their mother should join, and then they argue for the other children. They argue for their parents. It becomes a local neighborhood game. It's fun. Community takes part. Keeps everyone grounded together. You don't return to lessons today, as we play ants versus elephants with your neighborhood, with your family. Your parents join in. Your father demands to be on the side of the elephants. He, of course, explains that he doesn't have the frailty of an ant, and that he's not going to be taken down by two little runts. They are quick to try to prove him wrong. Your father is an honorable man. He's a stern, serious man. But against these kids, he's not above fighting dirty. And it seems in his old age he's taken to some tricky moves. He pinches them every once in a while. Just along the shoulder. A little jab in the ribs with just a finger. Sharp, swift pain. Dirty plays.
Well, there is a word for people who fight fair. Losers. At the end of the day, fighting is really just cheating better than the other person.
And this is a lesson that your father has passed on to you when you were younger and you were in your teenage years, getting to be stronger than him, and you had made your own play at power in a sense. There's a certain point he had explained where fighting fair, honor, all of these things are important, but survival is more so. And for his age, he's going to survive.
Yes. That, and not everyone fights fair. Sometimes you've just got to adapt to the rules that everybody else is playing by.
Indeed. It's a good day, Cal. Leaves you tired. Kids are fast asleep. That night you lay down, exhausted. You're a bit bruised from the neighborhood kids, but it doesn't matter. So are they. So are your own. Your wife is a bit bruised as well. It was good. You two fall asleep discussing the strategies of the day. It turns into mumbles, and that turns into sleepy little groans. It turns into sleep. It turns into snores. It was a good day. It was grand. Awaken, Cal. Your wife is shaking you. Something's going on outside. I smell fire, Cal.
And I'll wake up hearing, I don't know if this is, what's going on with this. Maybe the kids tried making breakfast and now something's on fire. But whatever the case may be, I am now up.
You move downstairs. Your wife moves with you. She says, outside. She checks on the children. They're still sound asleep. You open the door. It's pure horror outside, Cal. The fog-filled air is burning. Wooden structures are lit aflame. Stone is being made to burn in other ways. There are hooded figures, black cloaks, gold medallions bearing dragons' heads. You're chanting, you hear yelling. It gets worse, Cal, in the swift moments that you take all this in. Someone tries to stop them from burning down their home as they light a torch. A dagger is produced and driven up between the ribs. Thin, crooked smile on this assailant's lips. Hail the cursed king. as he twists. What do you do?
I will turn to Ura and tell her that she needs to take the children and get them out of here. I'm going to grab my hammer. You need to leave. Get the children, take them to safety. You need to leave.
Where? What's going on, Cal?
I don't know.
What about your parents?
Knowing my father, he's going to be joining in the fight. But you're not going to be able to convince him to leave. But my mother, bring her with you. Go into the mines if you have to, but get out of sight of...
She nods. She wakes the children. They are groggy, and she tries to usher them quickly. They're children. They're not quite entirely sure what's happening. And exhausted from the day's events, they are moving slowly. She's urging them onwards. You grab your hammer. You move outside as an individual comes to you with sword and torch. Praise to he who fears not death nor mortal, and readies a swing at you, Cal. What do you do?
As he's coming towards me, I will say, you are a fool if you think I value your life more than my family. And I'm going to swing my hammer at him.
It is a bloody affair, Cal. With all your strength, your family is in danger. You move and you pulverize this man. This gathers the attention of more of these black-cloaked individuals. You can hear the gold shift as they move, and eyes are on you. Hail the cursed king. They move to you, Cal. As your family rushes out behind you, you can catch the glimpse of them moving toward the direction of your parents. Continue, please. What do you do?
I'm going to basically sound my trumpet so that I make as much noise as possible. I want their eyes on me at this point.
You do this.
And I will charge them.
You move. All 2 tons of you just moving, barreling through these people. You can hear commands being shouted. Grab them. You move. Whoever gave the command, you don't care. Anyone who moves towards your family, you cut through. You cave in heads. You unarmored these individuals. You crack ribs. You pulverize chests. You move. You fight like a Loxodon possessed. And you've got their attention, Cal. Each swing brings praise. Hail the cursed king. Chant as they laugh and swing at you. Praise to he who fears not death nor mortal. Cuts. Your fur in the snow. Not just their blood, but yours. Here's something in the distance. Trumpeting of a horn. Trumpeting of your wife.
I'll instantly turn to look in that direction.
Your father is fighting. He's moving to you. He wields a hammer as well. You can see your wife, your children. She's protecting them as best she can. They're fully aware of what's going on now. The sleepiness, the grogginess is gone. Father shouts back a command, "Stay with me!" As he fights, he looks to you, Cal. He shouts your name. as a blade is driven into your ribs. He screams again. Gah! He rushes forward, caving in heads. You can see him cut. He's slower. And then this moment you can see he's old. Go.
The one that stabbed me, I want to reach over with my trunk and snap his neck, throwing him aside as I do.
Let me do this. You fight. Well, you're never ending. Frontier is burning. See, the fires are spreading, but it's you that has their attention now. They are moving their great work, whatever plan they had. It's going to have to wait. You're going to be dealt with. One of them looks. He removes his hood. Kill him. About 6 of these individuals turn from you, rush toward your father. What do you do?
So there were how many of them?
6 of them rush away from you and to your father.
I'm immediately going to be following after, swinging my hammer if I have to take out basically whatever I can hit. Legs, chest, head, doesn't matter. But they have chosen poorly, and I intend to make them aware of that.
Sean, as does your father. More hoods, more black cloaks, more of the swinging symbols of the dragon's head, gold. A sea of black. As your father fights forward, calling for his son. Sea of black takes this avenue, this street. And you fight on. Hear the one who removed his hood speak again, loud, commanding. Kill him. Kill them all. Kill them all. Your left ankle is cut, and you are forced to drop once more, Cal. Down to a knee. This is much like your game earlier today. Stakes are so much higher. From this position, you are dropped to a knee. You can barely see above the heads, the cloaks, the sea of black. You're losing sight of your family. You can hear your father. You don't hear your wife. You don't hear your children. And when I say you can hear your father, you can hear a cry of pain.
I do have first level fighter features Second Wind, and I think this might be the time to do that. Kind of restoring hit points, but also restoring that fighting spirit a little bit, getting that second wind, as it were.
You do this. You push on, you take a step with your injured leg, and you move forward. This individual who's removed the hood has moved down to where you can hear your father screaming. Carve through, you cut through. Cave in heads and skulls and rib cages. Finally you see a dagger. It's artificial smiles, their dark hair sweaty and matted to their face, holding the hair and the fur. Father, as you approach, dagger to his throat, smiling. What do you do, hero?
Leave us.
We were buried. Need cuts.
And I will charge him. Swinging the hammer initially, but not trying to kill him with that. Instead, I would grab him with the trunk, and I essentially want to lift him up and slam him down with as much force as I can.
You do it with as much force as you can, Cal. This will kill him. You slam him. The others back up. They're watching now. They're stopped attacking. They watch.
Next.
It reaches up, clutching at his throat.
Hold him.
Cal. Points, shaky hand, the direction where you had last seen your wife and children. Now, just a sea of black, smiling faces, these hooded cloaks. The only things seen are the smiles. You don't see your family, Cal.
I'll look down to my father. I will keep them safe if it is the last thing I do.
Pick up the tools, boy. Go.
Thank you for everything. I will grab my hammer.
Do you take your father's?
I will.
You run. Two weapons in hand. They part for you. Okay. Move. Rush toward where you'd last seen them. They're not standing there. Smiling faces beneath the black cloaks. You turn to your left. They move for you. Smiling faces beneath the black cloaks. They're not there, Cal. You look right. They part for you, these smiling faces beneath the black cloaks. They're not there, Cal. What do you do?
I'm going to sound my trumpet as a sort of call and response. First thing. This is.
As they begin to laugh, Cal, something terrible takes your heart. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? And you can hear your own voice. It's as if you're having a strange sort of out-of-body experience. You're yelling these figures. Where are they? You smile, even as you reach out and grip them, threatening, asking, where are they? You give in to violence in this moment. Where are they? Without answers, they die. Your tusk and hammer and neck and trunk, you kill. Where are they? And something grips your heart, Cal. Where are they? Every direction you look, you can see these cloaked figures. Where are they? You have no idea that your family is gone. Where are they? Feeling takes you. Where are they? You scream this in their faces. You scream this is the last thing many of them hear. Where are they? They laugh, and laugh. Your anguish, music to their ears as they laugh, and you scream, where are they? Something grips you, Cal, a searching feeling, an emotion that hunts, that begs for your family. You scream as you grip one, and you run. Each step is a thundering boom, boom, boom. Where are they? Tears stream as your thundering steps move, and a terrible pressure is felt with each step breaking through the fabric, and in a moment as this grips, where are they? A final step, the final thundering boom, leaves not an impression of your foot, but a strange symbol that will be studied, that will be analyzed. Where are they? Out of reach. And in a moment, Cal, your spark ignites. You planeswalk. Where are they? Out of reach. Planeswalk, Cal. And that's where we'll close this prologue. Thank you.